Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys had a good night tonight. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. All of these videos get posted on this subreddit right here. DF Sports, you can find my posts. My username here is Shook. I make updates with all the news that comes out. Pretty important stuff with the end of the season, so it's going to be important to check that out. You can talk strategy, stuff like that, etc. If you need to get a hold of me privately, you can do so on Twitter at Tory Langley 1992 if you ever need to get a hold of me privately. So you're gonna get an early video tonight because my lineup is just dead in the water, just dead in the water. So just unbelievable stuff that I saw happen tonight. Just I'm gonna make this video pretty quick as well. I got the COVID vaccine, my second shot yesterday, and I am just, it's putting me down, man. It's definitely got me, my head is just killing me. Very, very tired as well. I'm gonna go straight to bed after this. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I have the energy to tilt this, but Chetty Osman, nah, I can't do the normal voices I normally do. I'm just dead. Chetty Osman, 8, 9 man rotation. Um, Plays less minutes than he normally does. Once again, this just proves my theory that no one runs worse. Bryce McGowan's, after Dennis Smith Jr. got ruled out, one of the best plays on the slate if you factor in ownership with Dennis Smith Jr. out. If we got news Dennis Smith Jr. was out before lock, Bryce McGowan's, Theo Maladon, they would have been like 70% owned. Both of them would have been phenomenal value plays. So we get Dennis Smith Jr. out. Bryce McGowan's 7 man rotation, 24 minutes. 24 minutes in a 7 man rotation for an absolute smash with no Dennis Smith Jr. 24 minutes. Darius Garland. Mr. Darius Garland. Donovan Mitchell is the most annoying basketball player I think I've ever watched in my entire life for daily fantasy sports if you don't have him in your lineup because he just doesn't pass the ball. He shot the ball 32 times tonight. 33 shot attempts for Donovan Mitchell. And if you don't have him in your lineup, you're just pissed off because he's not passing the ball, and it's the most frustrating thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And then Nick Richards, bro, just absolutely smashing, just massive foul trouble. Um, just the core that I had for today was Bryce McGowan's absolute nuke with no Dennis Smith Jr. Just barely plays. He was fine. He did okay. It was like a fantasy point short from the fire emoji. Brandon Ingram, also a core play for me. Absolutely nuking the slate, but it won't matter for me. It just won't matter. Nick Richards, nuke. Core play for me. And then obviously I had Tyus Jones as a core play. He was pretty underwhelming, but still did okay. Then I rounded out my lineup with Darius Garland, Chetty Osman, Evan Mobley, and Josh Giddey. So yeah, maybe I wanted Donovan Mitchell. I didn't have the money for him, so I just went Josh Giddey. Luckily, Giddey scored the same amount of fantasy points at a cheaper price, and yeah, but that Dennis Smith Jr. stuff is just unbelievable, unbelievable. 20% owned PJ Washington at $8,000 nukes the slate. Just and for the people that played Theo Maladon, give me your time machine. Give me it. I need your time machine. I need it. Send it over now. Send it over. Give me your time machine. I mean, he was fine, I guess, but unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff that happened today. So like I said, I'm going to make this video pretty short. I am just not feeling well, even though I got into the tilting there a little bit. So We have Middleton questionable. We have Giannis probable. So that being the case, I mean, I guess it depends on if you think this game stays competitive or not. So like, if you think this game stays close, then I do like Giannis as a spend up. My only worry here is he's not going to play big minutes. And I don't know if he'll do that against the Pacers either. You guys always know Bud doesn't like playing his main guys huge minutes. So that's the only downside to Giannis, plus the risk of a blowout. But if you think this does stay close, then yeah, I like Giannis quite a bit as a spend up. If Middleton is in, I still think you could get to Drew at this price tag. It does seem a little too cheap, but would prefer Middleton to be out. And then I'm not going to be going to anyone else. If Middleton's out, though, then I think Giannis is still good. And then I like Drew quite a bit at 7-3. It's just way too cheap, in my opinion. And then I'm not going to get to Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis. They're priced appropriately. Javon Carter's overpriced. I guess if Joe Ingles is out and we have Jay Crowder out, I guess you can go to guys like, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen. I think they'd be reasonable values if Middleton's out. So, yeah. Mainly looking to Giannis, possibly Drew, and then Pat Connaughton for the Bucks. Let's move on to the Pacers. So we have Halliburton out. We have Miles Turner questionable. We have Buddy Hield back. So if Miles Turner is in, then I don't like the spot here for him at all. So probably not going to go there. TJ McConnell, I still do like, even at $6,000. I think we get, around 30 minutes from him regardless. He closed in the blowout last game too, which is good to see. So if he's going to close in a blowout, which I don't know if he'll do that every time, he did do that last time though, then I feel better about it. I still think he's solid, even at 6K. With Buddy Hield in, I think, Nemhard, Mathurin, Jordan Nwora, Naismith are all priced appropriately. They're fine secondary options for me. And then if Miles Turner is out, then Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, these two will kind of split these center minutes. Both would be good plays. Just would prefer Jackson just since he's cheaper, but both would definitely be solid plays at their prices. Miami. So gonna depend on Jimmy Butler. I would assume he plays here. I think it was just rest. So if he's in, there's just nothing here in a tough spot. Like Bam, Butler, Harrow, they're fine GPP only plays, and then I'm not gonna touch these secondary guys here for Miami. If he's out though, that does change things for me. Then I really like Bam. I really like Harrow. These two guys are gonna play huge minutes and lead the way offensively for both. Would like them quite a bit. And then I think you could get into like Max Strus, Caleb Martin, like Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry. Oladipo started tonight, but only played 23 minutes. He would be playable. Played or no, was that tonight? It was tonight. Played very, very poorly. So I think that could have been it. But yeah, Butler's out. I'm not considering these secondary guys. I guess Kevin Love's okay regardless. I think we get around 20 minutes for him. But ceiling not as high anymore. Only playing around 20 minutes, but playable. And then, yeah, if Butler's out, Strus, Caleb, I feel better about these two guys. I wouldn't play them if Butler is in. Strus only played 27 minutes tonight because he played very, very badly. You saw Kyle Lowry, I believe, played mid-20s minutes. And it's just like, okay. Once again, they're playable, but not going to be going out of my way to play any of them. All right, so we have Brunson questionable. There's just not much here either. Like, if Brunson's in, I'm probably just going to stay away from this team. Outside of Brunson himself, if he's not on a limit, which I would assume he wouldn't be, 7.5 is just too cheap, even in tough matchups. So I like Brunson if he plays and not on a limit, which, like I said, I don't expect him to. It's just too cheap. So if Brunson's in, then it's just Brunson for me. If Brunson's out, I think you could consider Randall quickly. I think RJ Barrett would definitely be my favorite of the bunch just because he's the cheapest. I think quickly Randall are now getting to the price points to with Brunson out. They should be, in my opinion, 6'5" last night, which is ridiculous. Josh Hart's been very, very bad of late, but would be like a pretty safe play to me if Brunson's out. Quentin Grimes, way, way overpriced. Absolute fish food at this price tag. Would not go there. He was absolutely busting until the blowout. Mitch Robinson, Hartenstein, Mitch probably plays mid-20s minutes to low to mid-20s minutes. I think he's a reasonable value, but I don't like the matchup at all. And then Hartenstein, I'm just not going to go there. Let's move on to Houston. So this game does look pretty appealing. So these two teams are going to run pretty tight rotations. You have the price come down on Kevin Porter Jr. as well. So I like Kevin Porter Jr. quite a bit for GPPs. I think Jalen Green is reasonable as well. I do prefer Kevin Porter Jr. though. Sengun not playing enough for me to go. Like, he's only going to play like 30 minutes, which is fine. Like, he still has a ceiling. It's a phenomenal matchup against Brooklyn. So for big, so I mean, I don't mind it for GPPs, but wish to is playing more. Not going to get to Jabari. I'm not going to go to anyone else. Let's move on to Brooklyn. So, phenomenal matchup here. I mean, as long as this game stays close, which I would assume it would, I really like Bridges. I really like Dinwiddie. I think Claxton's okay. I think Cam John, this guy's always in foul trouble late. I really don't understand it, but I think we get low to mid 30s minutes, like around 30, 33 minutes from him. I think he's a pretty safe play at 5'9". I'm not going to Dorian Finney-Smith. Just can't do it. I'm not going to go to Royce O'Neal either. So let's move on to Dallas. This team's just a fade for me. I'm not going to anyone on Dallas against the Sixers. So all right, Joel Embiid, James Harden, both questionable. If they're both in, then I really like Embiid at 11K. It's just too cheap. If Harden's out, then I absolutely love Embiid at 11K. It's just too cheap. So I really like Embiid regardless if he plays. Think Harden's okay, and then everyone else would be out of play at their respective prices. If we get a situation where Harden's in and Embiid's out, then I really like Harden, and then I wouldn't get to any of the secondary plays, depending on what they do with starting at the center. If they start like Deadman again, I'd be okay with Reed. I wouldn't go to Deadman. If they start like Tucker at the 5, then I just wouldn't go to any of the bigs. If they're both out, then that's where we can start looking to these secondary guys. Maxey, I think, would be priced appropriately, but still playable. But would like Tobias, would like Melton. Shake Milton, I think, would be a reasonable value. Like I said, monitor what they do at the starting at the 5. If they start Tucker at the 5, I wouldn't go to any of the bigs. If they start like Deadman at the 5, then I think it's perfectly reasonable to go to Paul Reed. And then you couldn't pay me to play guys like Niang, McDaniels, House, stuff like that. So, or Deadman. This team, another pretty much stay away situation for me. We have AD healthy, we have D'Lo probable, we have LeBron questionable, but I fully expect him to play here. He was back last game, so with this team healthy, I assume LeBron will be on a limit as well. It's just impossible to go to anyone at these respective prices. So that was pretty quick there. Really good spot here for the Bulls. So you guys know what I'm going to say. I think DeMar, I think Levine, I think Vooch all look pretty good to me for tournaments. Trying to figure out which one's going to have the big game, I think, is impossible. But yeah, so I like the big three for GPPs. Trying to figure out who's going to have the good game is tough, but like them all. If Cruz is in, I'm not going to anyone else. I guess you could consider Andre Drummond, who will get the backup 5 good point per minute guy. If Cruz is in, I think he's an okay value at 3-3. If he's out, I still don't like anything else. But that would make like Pat Bev, Patrick Williams, Io playable, but they're all just overpriced in my opinion. Same with Kobe White, so it doesn't really change much there. Let's move on to Detroit. Pretty unappealing team as well. It is a good matchup. So like, I like the ceiling on Jaden Ivey at 7-2. I just think it's priced about right. He had a really good game last game. He'll play big minutes as well, and he might play in a blowout if this game doesn't stay close. But so I have interest in Ivy. I have interest in Hayes. I think they're just priced right though. Like Bagley, I think is priced right. Wiseman, Durant, they're kind of splitting the center minutes right now. I just prefer who's ever cheaper, and that would be Durant. Durant actually been playing more than Wiseman of late, so yeah, definitely do lean Durant there. And then I'm not going to 5K Livers, just overpriced. Not going to Kojo, any of these guys. So let's move on to OKC. It's all going to come down to SGA. If he's in, then I like SGA quite a bit in a phenomenal matchup. And then Giddy Jalen would still be playable, but more secondary plays, definitely a bit overpriced. Same with Dort, same with like Joe would be overpriced as well. So there wouldn't be much outside of SGA. If SGA is out though, in a really good matchup, you guys know what I'm going to say. Then I like Josh Giddy quite a bit. I like Jalen Williams quite a bit. Even at these prices, Dort would be fine, but it's a bit overpriced. Isaiah Joe had a massive game tonight because he hit his shots. Just know, if he has a bad shooting game, they could bench him and his minutes wouldn't be secure, so just be a little bit careful there, but he would be solid for value, even at 48. Jalen Williams, I mean, his minutes been up and down, but another playable value. You saw Poku, I believe, in the rotation tonight, so I don't think I'll be touching any of these bigs. I think my main interest is Giddey, Jalen, Joe, possibly Dort. All right, last set of games here, guys. Clippers at Memphis. So no Paul George, no Marcus Morris. We possibly have Powell back. If Powell's in, then I'm not like Man, Bones, Batum. They would kind of all be out of play for me. If he's out, then I still don't even like the pricing here. Like Gordon's like a safe play. Batum seems like a pretty safe play, but 5-1, 5-5 just seems overpriced. Bones has been getting extended from blowouts, so it feels like chasing to go there at 5K. Covington not in the rotation, so the value is just disgusting here for the Clippers. I will say Zubac, and Plumlee, they're kind of splitting the center minutes right now. I mean, if we get like 25 minutes of Zubac at 5-4, I think that's doable. I think my main interest is really just Kawhi and Westbrook, who I think are fine tournament plays at their respective prices. Let's move on to Memphis. So Ja Morant going to play tomorrow, expected to be in. Got to keep an eye. I believe he started last game. So if he starts and we get news that they're gonna like bump his minutes up to like 30, mid-30s minutes, then I really like him. I just don't know if they will. And then that like takes Jaren out of play at that price. Like with Ja in, it takes Tyus out of play, it takes Bane out of play, it takes Jaren out of play, it takes Brooks out of play, it takes Luke Kennard out of play. So yeah, it's just Ja for me at the top with Memphis. Let's move on to Utah. So we have marketing questionable. We have Fontecchio, the Olympic GOAT, also questionable. If they're both in, I'm probably just going to stay away from this team. Like, I'm good with Markkanen in a phenomenal spot, but I'm probably just going to stay away. If they're both out, I would assume JTA moves in the starting lineup. So, probably get what? Kessler, JTA, THT, Olynyk, and Agbaji starting. So if that's the case, then, I mean, THT... I knew his assist this game and he gets benched for Dunn, and minutes haven't been great, but he did play 35 minutes last game. I think that was with Markkanen in, so I guess I have some interest in THT in a phenomenal matchup. I think Kelly Olynyk would be my favorite from the bunch. They're just going to do a lot of stuff with Olynyk with no Markkanen. They're going to run their offense a lot through him as well, so... Would like a Olynyk if Markkanen's out. THT would be fine as a GPP play. Walker Kessler's priced appropriately. Agbaji, safe play but priced about right. And then JTA, I mean, it's JTA. Do I have to say much here? Would be playable, but I'm not going to go there. It's just awful. Spurs, so no Keldon, no Vassell, no Sochan. Phenomenal matchup. I like Zach Collins quite a bit at 6'4". I think we get, low 30s minutes from him. Good point per minute guy. He's stuffed in the stat sheet. Really good matchup. So I think Zach Collins looks pretty good to me. I think Trey Jones even looks fine at 5'7". I think, without Sochan, Vassell, Keldon, you're probably going to get Branham, Trey Jones, Branham, Langford, Keita Bates-Diop, Zach Collins. So if that's the case, then Keita Bates-Diop is playable. Langford, I think we get low 20s minutes from him in the starting lineup, would be an okay value. I think Branham would be a pretty good value. He's going to start regardless, so we don't have to monitor that. But we'll play blowouts. Would play blowouts as well. So like Branham regardless. And then I like Collins. I like Trey Jones. Keita Bates-Diop is playable. Graham is just okay. I think I'd rather just play Branham, and then I'm not going to go to anyone else. Minnesota, this team's just a cross away for me. If you want to like go to a low-owned ant, then be my guest. I mean, Cat did play 32 minutes in that game against the Warriors. I mean, keep an eye on if he'll be on a limit or not. Okay to take some shots in large field tournaments, but it's not a good matchup. So this team's just stay away with everyone healthy for me. On to Phoenix, same kind of thing here. We have Kevin Durant coming back, I would assume. So with him in, this team is just stay away from me. Booker did have big games with KD in, so I guess would still have some interest in him, but takes Paul out of play, takes Koji out of play, takes Craig out of play, takes Warren, Ross, those guys out of play. So there just isn't anything here for the Phoenix Suns. So yeah, with KD and Sacramento. So it's up to you on if you think this game stays close or not. So if you think this game stays close in a phenomenal spot, then I like Sabonis, I like Fox, and then I'm not going to go to anyone else. Let's go over to Portland. So we got to have interest in this team tomorrow. Watford, doubtful. Cam Reddish, doubtful. They're going to have 8 bodies, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I think they'll run an 8-man rotation most likely unless the game blows out. So Shaden Sharp going to play in a blowout regardless. So I think his minutes are very, very secure. I think he plays close to 40 minutes here. So I like Shaden Sharp quite a bit. If you think the game stays close, then you're going to want to target guys like Nasir Little, Drew Eubanks, Cam Reddish, and Cam Reddish is doubtful. Ryan Archie-Dianach. I don't know how to say his name, but if you think the game stays close, then yeah, you're going to want to target Ryan. You're going to want to target Drew Eubanks. And you're going to want to target Nasir Little. Those would be the guys to target. Ryan would be my least favorite. Drew Eubanks would be my favorite, I think, and then Little would be close to Drew Eubanks. If you think this, and then if the game stays close, I think Kevin Knox is still okay regardless, and I think Keon would be okay regardless. If you think this game blows out and you get extended run for guys like Keon Johnson, Jabari Walker, Kevin Knox. I'm not going to play Thibault. He won't play in a blowout either. I'm not going to play him even if the game stays close for blowout. But like I said, I think Kevin Knox is viable either way. So I think it's a solid value. And then plus the benefit of a blowout would help him. I think Jabari Walker, if the game stays close, probably only plays 15 minutes. But he's a really good point per minute guy. So if we get like 25 minutes again from Jabari Walker, he'll probably pay off this price tag. And then Keon Johnson, I think, is viable either way. But once again, if you think the game blows out, will get extended, will probably pay off this price tag. So it's up to you on what you think this is going to happen in this game. The blowout lineup, like I said, is going to be Kevin Knox, Shaden Sharp, John Butler, Jabari Walker, and Keon Johnson. As you saw here, Nasir Little didn't play in a blowout, Drew Eubanks didn't play in a blowout, and Ryan Archie-Dianach didn't play in a blowout. So going to be up to you on what you think happens in this game, on if it stays close or it doesn't. So hope this video helped you guys out. Sorry for the short video. I'm just not feeling well, so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.